Hey there, Zelda fans. Hey there, Nintendo fans. We got a lot of things to look forward to this year other than the 35th anniversary. Let's get right into the noise. Hey guys, HMK here once again, and the year is finally coming into focus when it comes to Nintendo's unknown titles. Because not too long ago I made a video on this. Nintendo confirmed that big news is incoming when it comes to the other releases beyond that, or within that, of April. That we have to wait until the next fiscal year, which starts April 1st. Right? They were talking about games like Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which is coming very soon. I'm excited. Monster Hunter Rise and new Pokemon Snap. And of course, beyond that, when it comes to Nintendo's own titles, we are pretty much left in the dark. And we're going to be talking about a very dark game when it comes to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. But more recently, the ESA has confirmed their intention. It's very clear that intention, you know, it may not still happen for E3 2021, a digital version of the event. And it's going to be in the same dates as, you would expect, June, mid-June. Specifically, June 15th through the 17th with a pre-show and, I was going to say post-show, but they don't really do that and whatnot. What their plan is that they're going to have 2-hour keynotes from the big developers. They're going to have little smaller events when it comes to small developers, influencers, and other cool surprises, including that of an awards show. And that these will be presented throughout the days of 6/15, 6/16, and 6/17 of this year, 2021. And it will be competing, but they don't like to use the word competing. It will be competing with Summer Games Fest, which Jeff Keighley broke off of E3 in order to do because he wasn't in agreement with their more recent updates of the show. And I definitely understand why, especially that huge ESA fiasco leaking the bad stuff when it comes to people's information, bro. Like, out of the E3s, I am so glad I didn't go to 2019 because I was able to react to Breath of the Wild 2 in the comfort of my own home and not scramble between hotel rooms. Yeah, Zeltic, Dr. Wily, Commonwealth Rum. I was comfy. So anyways, when it comes to E3 2021, a big developer that is known to be there all the time, because there have been people who have been leaving, like Activision, Sony, EA, whatnot. Will Nintendo, the big N, be there at Breath of the Wild 2's possible reintroduction at E3 2021? Because the last time we saw it was E3 2019, so 2 years later would fit right into the mold and the bold moves that Nintendo has done when it comes to the original Breath of the Wild. And I think it's all lining up. Zelda's 35th anniversary. They said they're going to announce stuff within the next fiscal year of Nintendo, which starts April 1st. So June is right smack dab in the middle. And will they finally just show it off there? Will they have a show there? Now, here is the big problem with all of that, is that we are now living in a digital age. Beyond that of what's going on with the past year and a half when it comes to the pandemic and whatnot, everyone's staying at home, so E3 is going to be purely digital. But we've been living in a digital age where Nintendo has been doing directs and other developers have been catching on. Ubisoft, Xbox, Sony, Devolver Digital, all these other developers are having their own digital space and they don't need E3 anymore. Even though E3 was pretty fun and I enjoy going to E3, I've been to 4 of them and whatnot, and but they don't really need E3, especially if E3 is going to be all digital. And the thing about this is that what really confuses me is that in order to be part of the show, you still have to be part of the ESA list, the board, all those developers that come together to make up the ESA and whatnot. And Nintendo's there, and Nintendo's been at pretty much almost every E3. Nintendo was at the last ever E3 that happened so far was 2019, and boy did they kill it. But the thing is, you have to be part of the board. And then also, apparently, according to VGC, who spoke to another big game developer, they elected to not show up to E3 this potential year. They're not naming names, but the developer said they'd rather not pay the 6-figure sum in order to be there, in order to join, in order to be part of their space. And I'm like, that's pretty pricey, you know. And that goes into the whole deal of, does Nintendo really want to pay like at minimum $100,000 in order to appear at a show? I mean, sure, you would think that all eyes are in E3. I was talking to my friends about this, that, you know, E3 is one of those shows, when you hear E3, you want to watch. Even though E3 could be disappointing, it could be really hype, but you want to watch because they always have something in the bag, hopefully, right? So from that already, you would think that, oh, there's going to be all eyes on E3 from just the name of E3. But in the other sense, E3 has to have the developers, the people, in order to get those eyes on them. Sure, E3 is known for having all these people, but along the years, more and more developers have been leaving. And if we don't have, like, especially after the fiasco of 2019 and 2020, when it comes to E3, ESA, if I don't have that level of confidence and you don't tell me the developers I want to see, if Nintendo confirms, if they confirm that Nintendo's not going to be at E3, why would I give it the time of day? You know what I mean? And that's just me with Nintendo. For you, it could be Square Enix. For you, it could be Sony. Well, Sony's not even going to be there. For you, it could be Capcom. For you, it could be Bandai Namco. For you, it could be this. For you, it could be that, right? So, with that level of doubt, with that level of darkness, why would people give E3 the time of day, especially going off the rails of that? And then why would developers, if developers are like keen enough to know that, why would they pay $100,000 to show up to a show when they can literally do something themselves? Nintendo's doing it, Sony's doing it, Square Enix did it, Ubisoft's doing it, Xbox is doing it. Literally, they can like skip the $100,000, use that in order to make their own show. Yo, check it out, guys. Breath of the Wild 2. And then that really boils down into the notion of Nintendo being there or not with Breath of the Wild 2. Would they want to introduce and get hyped? Because I'm still on the train of Breath of the Wild 2 for 2021. I was on the train for 2020. We're not going to talk about that. We got Age of Calamity. I was good. It's kind of Breath of the Wild, right? Am I right? Am I right? So, will Breath of the Wild 2 be at E3? Because what Nintendo likes to do, especially with Breath of the Wild 1 back in 2016, is they like to announce these big games or show off a big portion of these games. Of course, they have teasers of what's coming later down the line, like Breath of the Wild 2 itself. But other games, they show it off. They're like, oh, this is new. And guess what? You can play it on the show floor right when the doors open. So that combination of effects, whether you're at E3 or not, gives you a lot more focus on a specific title and a lot more transparency on those titles in order to make your... And now we don't have that anymore. All we're gonna get is digital. I mean, maybe E3 decides to do a thing where it's digital and then the show floor is gonna be completely empty of the public, but the developers are there, and like, you know, Nintendo could set up their treehouse, Capcom could do this, and then they have, you know, either influencers or developers demo out the game live for you. I mean, if they do that, then I could rock with it a little bit, you know, especially since I feel we're at that point in time where we need to see gameplay of Breath of the Wild 2. Sure, we're all gonna buy it, and it's a game that promotes itself inherently. I mean, look what I'm doing, right? But still, you know, that doesn't apply to everyone, especially the casual audience. And this, I feel, is more in tune for both hardcore and casual to get both sides of the coin. You know, to show the casuals, oh, this game, you could do this. And show the hardcores, hey, check this out. But that 6 figures to join really bothers me. I mean, I'm not saying Nintendo doesn't have the money, because Nintendo does have the money. Nintendo has the money 5 times over. The Switch is killing it. I'm pretty sure 80 million units right now, but like, they have the money. But do they want to spend the money when they could do something like this themselves? And they could demo out something themselves? The only thing that's keeping me towards the notion of Nintendo being at E3 is the idea of a treehouse being at the event where they could demo out Breath of the Wild 2. They could demo out No More Heroes 3. They could demo out other games that we have no idea about. Star Fox. Natural Born Trilogy. I'm sorry, man. Oh God, I'm sorry. Sorry, a new Mario Kart! But you guys know what I'm trying to say. Will Breath of the Wild 2 be at E3 2021 with the new resurgence of news, details the apparent intention of confirmation of E3 2021? And do you think it's going to, come into fruition despite everything that's happening with the ESA? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the hype, if you think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be at E3, or do you think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be announced in a more other Nintendo more space, like them doing their own thing, leave what you think in the comment section below. And if you like the video, please like, share, favorite, and most importantly, subscribe to HMK for more Nintendo news, content, and more. So until the next fiscal year, Bowser's Fury is literally about to come out. I'll check you guys later.